Hey there, and welcome back to Scrap with Penny, where paper meets story. Today I'm coming to you with another Disney layout. You may recall that my 2026 story focus has 4 chapters or 4 prongs or angles, however you want to look at it. British Isles travel, vintage child layouts that we identify that need a story as we work through 2024 month in review. And then the 4th one is Disney. I didn't really scrap any Disney at all in 2025. I worked on some itinerary pages at a crop. I have never gone back and journaled and embellished those. So I love this Kellybell. And I was telling Lisa at Life and Layouts during their 5K celebration crop recently that I was recalling finally when it hit March 1, because last year she did March Madness and she did 31 days of layouts. She did a layout every day, and many of those were the Disney Kellybell. And Nicole Colleybean was like, hey, you need to go check her out. And then it was like a big free fall for me into loading up a Kellybell cart. So I did some procurement last year, and I'm doing some playing with it this year. And what I'm going to do today, so I decided that I would start in Magic Kingdom, and I would try and work on one park each quarter. So I started in Magic Kingdom. I started with Big Thunder. I'll link those layouts below. And I decided when it came time for my second layout that I would just stay in Frontierland for the quarter. So this is me trying to get as much done in Frontierland before we move to Epcot in April. And I have a character meetup today. So we've done Big Thunder, we've done Tom Sawyer Island, we've done Splash, we've done Western Goofy. We have now in front of us a character layout. So this is Jessie and Woody. We saw them this one time. This was before Toy Story Land opened in 2016, and this is a 2009 photo. It's taken the same year as Western Goofy in the same spot, which is kind of funny. So I have a planning video for this. The planning video covers me planning 3 layouts, and in that planning video I talk about selecting paper, selecting the sketch, selecting the photos. And because I am using this life documented sketch from Allison Davis when she collaborated with Simple Stories, I have it printed out, so I pulled it out so you can see we're going to make this side over here. And I see this going next to Western Goofy in my album. And it doesn't have to match. It's not going to be any big deal. I think it'll look enough alike because it's just using the Frontierland kits. So I've got this denim, which is Studio Fleurs. This, and this are not Kellybell, and this, and this are. So this is what we're going to do. This is my big vertical band, and then I'm going to use these other patterns, which I sized them down so you could get, a good idea of them. And we're going to use this sketch here. And what's funny is this morning while I was stitching on another layout, I was watching Elisa at Life and Layouts video, and she talked about using sentiment strip dies to cut your banners. And so she has a My Favorite Things set. I do not. I've got this Lawn Fawn, and you can still get this. And so I think I'm going to pull these out and use it to cut these because I don't like cutting banners. So we're going to see how that goes. And in the planning video, I talk about how I've just got 2 photos. I have requested a Facebook edit to take my niece and my sister out. I've received 2 results. It's not going well. I went ahead and printed this because this may be what I use. It's not the end of the world. It's part of the memory. But this was me shooting with my Canon DSLR, and so I don't have a ton of pictures of this because you can't shoot that fast in that thing because you're focusing and you're stepping back and zooming and all. So I see this picture, my sketch is going to look, my layout's going to pretty much look like this, Mickey heads and all. So what I can do now is set this to the side, and I can go ahead and I can start trimming this down. I've pulled out a piece of white cardstock just kind of to corral everything. It may be after I cut this that I go and pull a piece of wood grain. it might be a little more cohesive next to Goofy if I use the same wood grain. So I'll have to look at that and see. And you know, if I were to print the wood grain, I wouldn't print a 12 by 12. I would print the pieces. And the other thing I say in the planning video is that this is certainly a layout that you can emulate. This is a sketch you can work on with letter size paper, because your photos divide the paper in the middle. And here, here, and here, I'm going to look for little Kellybell elements I can use. The rest of the pictures are not good enough quality, you know, to mess with printing, in my opinion. So this is where we're headed, and I'll be back in a little bit with some progress. So here's what we're looking at. When I create these Word documents to print my papers, I save them. And so I went out to the one that was Goofy, and I quickly knew which wood grain it was. And I actually had a scrap piece of paper, and so I just ran just a little remnant of paper through to print this on, and it's perfect. So here are my little, I was trying to emulate like 6 by 6 papers. So here those are trimmed up. I've tested this. This is the thickest one. The sketch calls for one that's longer than, well, I don't know, maybe it's this long. I think we can make that work. You know, I've been kind of off banners lately, but I do want to try this sketch. I do want to see. I think that in this case, the banners might work. And I said in the planning video that I rotated the orientation of this denim because I wanted the jeans seam, you know, top and bottom, and I think that's really cute. So I need to work on finding something to go here, or I could just decide to do a mat and offset it like that, and that may be what we do. You've got to realize that when Allison was creating these sketches, she was working with those simple story collections that had all those 2 by 2 squares, 3 by 4, 4 by 4, 4 by 6, 6 by 8, and so we don't have to be constrained to that. But I love this sketch as a starting point or a jumping off point. Okay, so I'm liking how this works. I'm going to go look at Kellybell to see if I have anything that would go in right here, and I'm going to work on cutting banner strips, and I'm going to do it just like Lisa did. I'm just going to take all 3 and just run the paper collections through, and then I'll see if I need to do any other cuts. I want to say on this, you see a little bit of a seam here because I scaled this 12 by 12 paper down to about a 3 by 3 square, and then I copied it and copied it and copied it, and I kind of did a seam on them, and I felt like for putting them up here it would work, because if I had stayed in the 12 by 12 scale of this, you wouldn't catch it, you know, in these little tiny banners to begin with. And I also did the same on this, and I said in the planning video that I wanted to be able to see the plaid of the shirt, so that's going to work there. And then the same for the clouds and the bandana. So of course I realize I've got 3 widths, but the point is you're going to get to see enough of the pattern for it to make sense. Okay, so I'll be back in a little bit. So I've got my banners all cut, and I think they look pretty good, and I just went with the 3 here. The sketch calls for one thicker one right here, and I just decided no. I've got 13, and if they tighten up a little bit and I've got more room on the edge, I'm fine with that. And I decided that what I'm going to do here is I'm going to emulate a Kellybell pocket card where she combines these 2 papers and she does a little howdy sticker on them, a piece of flair, and then toward that end I'm going to pick 2 of these 4 papers to make little squares here, and I'm going to print out some flair to pop those up on, and so that'll take care of my little section here. I've got some little wooden Mickey heads on standby that I can pop down. I've got my journaling written, and I need to print that out and run it through the die cut machine. It's going to be 4 lines. I did go almost the full width of the die, and so it'll be up here. So I'll have an element here, here. I see my title going down here, And that's what I want to show you. So this is Woody and Jessie. This is from the character title set from Kellybell called Woody and Friends. And I printed it on glossy photo paper so that it'll stand up on the page a little bit more, because I do not have the elements to stack these up. So I'm going to have to just let them shine in their own merit, and I'm going to put them up on foam. Now if I wanted, I could do an offset cut in a colored cardstock behind it, but if it looks okay as it prints, as it cuts, I'm not going to do that. So this is ready to cut. I need to print out my little elements here. And what else? Oh, you know, obviously all this is taped down. My pictures are not taped down, and I'm trying to decide if I want to put these on a darker wood grain or on white. So that's kind of also in play. So that's just a little update, and I'm going to go work on cutting this out, and I'll be back. Let me catch you up. I got out my Hero Arts Infinity Square nesting dies, and this one is 2 and this one is the one below 2. So I got my bandana and my cloud paper, just like the Kellybell pocket design, and or it could be the journal card, and I cut a 2-inch square of these 2, and then I went to my plaid and I grabbed a little snippet of it and I used that, whereas her cute little card was the red and white gingham. And then up here I chose to go down a size because I just wanted my banners to show. And they're all taped down, and I think they look good. I think they're going to look better when I get the journaling up here and a little Mickey. I see that going right up there. I've got my title cut, and I need to cut my rope. I've got rope scheduled to go behind this. I need to get that down. And so when I get my rope down and I get my journaling down, I'll give it a once over, make sure I like it, and then I will tape it down. I just cut a piece of 4x12 cardstock for a solid mat across all of this. I did consider a wood grain. I didn't want it to be the same wood grain, and I just couldn't get a tone that I thought worked. I think it clashes pretty bad. I didn't want to go this dark, and on the darker Echo Park, like over here it was super dark brown and here it was a lighter brown, so you couldn't tell with it just showing, you know, 1/8 of an inch. So I went ahead and cut a piece of white and put it down, and instantly I thought that looks so much better. So the thing about the white is that it ties into the clouds and the border around all of the little embellishments. So I think it's looking pretty good. On placing my banner down, I just decided to let the natural length of the banners, so Lawn Fawn has staggered the length in accordance with their width, and so I just went with this, except right here where I had 2 thick ones side by side, I just scooched this one up a little so that it had a little variety there. And I ended up not putting any on top of one another. I had a couple left, but I think I'm good with it how it is. I took care to not put this next to the plaid. And what's the other one I have left? Clouds. So I feel good about it. Let me cut my journaling. Let me run it through the Hero Arts die, and I'll be back in a minute. Alright, so here's my journaling, and I use the Hero Art sentiment strip die. I put a link to Nicole at Coley Bean's tutorial in every video in which I use this sentiment strip die, and I love it because it's accurate, and I mean, there's just not any issues. So I'll even up the rough edges, pop it up on foam, and per the sketch, I'm going to try the journaling up here first. I am back, and it's a wrap, and let me walk you through where we landed, because it does look a little different than the last time we filmed. The first thing is, I had printed off this Happy Memories and this Reach for the Sky, and they ended up being so large. So I went back and reprinted them in smaller sizes, and I love them so much more, and so I wanted to use them. And the other thing is, I originally had the Mickey head up here, and I had this circle here and I had 2 circles, and it just looked a little redundant right on top of one another. And so when I reprinted this and this, I grabbed this boot, because you know every cowboy and cowgirl has their boots. This is at a little angle, and so is this, and I've got them tucked under this photo mat, and a white photo mat is the right call. And as soon as I put it down, I thought it was good, and I loved even more when I put the journaling strips down how it echoed the white. Then I've got a little bit of white here, here. I don't think you notice it so much down here. When I needed to take one of these circles away from here, I thought the Frontierland would do better up here kind of as a subtitle in case you didn't know where this is. But at any rate, I like how this supports the journal cluster and keeps the journal strips kind of from floating. Oh, the stitching. Okay, so I was really in a quandary over where to stitch. I felt like it needed stitching somewhere. I was thinking about doing vertical tone-on-tone stitch here, and then I thought about doing a vertical tone-on-tone stitch on the denim. Then I thought, you know, the sketch calls for sporadic. I think on 5 banners Allison stitched on hers, she did vertical, and I didn't really see that working for me. I don't know. I guess I like the papers. I just couldn't visualize how it would work. And so then I reached out to a friend for some stitching advice, and the suggestion was to run the stitching across the faux paper stitching down here, and I love that, and it looks so good, and so that was great advice. The other, when I stitched up here, I did not take the advice. I called an audible, but I wanted it to, so if you remember, if you go back to the beginning of the video, I oriented this paper specifically so you would see the blue jean stitch here and here, because if I had printed it with the stitch going top to bottom, you only would have seen one stitch. Well, now I know if I'd done that, I could have done fake stitching, but you know, hindsight's 20/20. Sometimes you make choices along the way, and if you were to do it again, you might make different choices. But I'll say I love the layout as it is. I love how it ended up, and I like this stitching here because it bookends here, and so it kind of sets off the whole vertical band. I think that the simplicity at the bottom balances out everything that's going on up here. My 2 pieces of rope meet under the ampersand, and you can't tell, and so that's it. I just can't with this adorable little cloud paper. It's just so cute. I want to give a quick shout out and thanks to Lisa at Life and Layouts and Nicole at Kellybell, because I have watched both of them do videos where they use the sentiment strip dies to create banners for their page. And this morning when I was stitching for another layout, I watched Lisa's Dapper Dan video, and then it reminded me that I had also watched one of Nicole's. I think that was last summer when I was like binging through all of her content, and I think it's a great hack. And so I never would have thought of it in a million years, and it was a lot faster to just throw all 3 of the banners down onto the paper that I had cut, and you know, it made quick work of getting these banners done. And the other thing that I really love in the decision of the banners up top is that I scaled all of the paper down to where it resembled a 6x6 pad. There's just no way in those little strips that I would have had a good presentation of the paper pattern if I had kept it at the 12x12 scale. So thanks, Lisa and Nicole. This is Studio Flurgs, and this is Studio Flurgs, and this is Studio Flurgs. But this is Kellybell, this is Kellybell, this is Kellybell. Yeah, so I hate when I use paper that's not Kellybell, because then I can't post it in their Facebook group. But I'd rather use paper that I like than have a tie to a company that I don't have to. You know, I can mix and match papers, and that's part of the fun for me. So this is lightly tacked down, and if I ever get a good edit on it, I will replace it. But for now, it looks like it may be the 6 of us. And I'm okay with that because the 6 of us were there together, obviously. And I love Katie and Rhonda, so it's not anything like that. It's just that for my family, Toy Story is really special. And this is the only time that we have a picture of us with Toy Story characters. I am loving, loving, loving Frontierland. I mean, I guess as a native 5th generation Texan, it would stand to reason that I would have an affection for Frontierland. But the pictures and the memories, all of us in my family with boys, Frontierland was just always a really good place to hang out. And so it's very fun to recall all of the memories that we made back in that far corner of the park. Let me know in the comments if you have ever met Woody and Jessie in Magic Kingdom, and let me know in the comments if you've dipped your toes into hybrid yet. I'm telling y'all, it's fun. I hope that you've had some fun on your desk while I've been having fun on mine. I want to give a quick and heartfelt thank you to all of my subscribers. I appreciate you showing up and liking and commenting on my videos and supporting my channel. It just means a lot. And if you haven't yet joined our community, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can be part of the fun. I'm going to wrap this up, move on to the next project, and as always, thanks for hanging out with me.
Thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a thing. I'll be back soon with more layouts, videos, and a little stash busted magic. So please come back and crop with me. Until next time, happy scrapping, and remember, this is where paper meets story. Bye-bye.